What's going on, guys? I'm Zach.
I'm Nick.
And we're Kendama professionals who have been competing at the pro level for the past 10 years. Combined, we have 8 world titles, 37 wins at the pro level, and 77 pro top 3 finishes. In this video, we're going to be talking about all things mental in Kendama competition. We're going to be going over the top actions that we took in our competitive career to give us that edge mentally over our competitors. For most Kendama players, the mental game has everything to do with handling nerves and shakes. In our experience, if we ever got nervous, chances were that we didn't practice the tricks enough or we didn't practice competing enough. For me, nerves usually arise when I'm just not used to doing something yet, or if I'm doing something completely new for the first time. For example, when I'm starting a new job, I'm getting trained by my manager, I'm going through all the new tasks, I'm making a couple mistakes here and there, learning on the get-go, and by the time I'm out my training, I go on the floor, I may make a couple more mistakes because I'm nervous, I'm still learning, but after a couple weeks and months, everything that I made a mistake on previously or everything that was super foreign to me before now feels like routine to me. Same thing when I'm driving a new area for the first time, I'm not used to the traffic, the turns, the streets, but after 100 times driving through, I know the area like the back of my hand, I'm not nervous at all anymore because I just know everything that's coming to me. This applies to high stakes scenarios and Kendama competition as well. If I do each trick 100 times or enter 100 competitions, I'm going to be much less nervous than I was on my first 10 or 20 times going through them. And that is simply due to experience.
Competing is a skill in itself that is completely separate from practicing the trick list at home by yourself. Showing up and performing in the moment on stage is its own skill. Zach and I's best tip is simulating a match, simulating the competition experience as frequently as you possibly can. And what this looks like is a lot of competing, whether it be at your local jams, local competitions, online against your friends on social media, taking every opportunity you possibly can to gain that experience and therefore up your mentality, up your confidence when going into the real thing when those opportunities come. Some people may say themselves, I'm not naturally competitive, I'm not naturally good at these things, but that's all just a mindset thing in itself. Exposing yourself to a competitive environment, putting yourself in a situation where you have to be competitive, you are going against other people under high stakes scenarios, putting yourself into these situations is half the battle. And sometimes these situations, these experiences aren't just going to come out of thin air. Chances are you're going to have to make them yourself. Start your own practice group, whether it be in your local area, reach out to people online in different communities. There's so many people that we're connected to nowadays that there are lots of people just like you who want to get the same experience, but also don't have anybody else to play with. Zach and I actually do online competitions very frequently in the Gallagher Kendama School. This is an online community that we started early in 2024. Especially recently, we've been running competitions online almost every single weekend for those to learn through real experience, as close to the real competition, the real feeling as we possibly can get you. Bottom line is when you have more reps in something, you have more confidence. And that's why we really place a high importance on actually doing the work, putting yourself in the situations of competition, and actually doing the repetitions of the tricks over and over again. Over the years, as Zach and I got more comfortable with competing, it's not like we stopped getting nervous. We just got used to the nerves in these conditions.
Some of you may be wondering, why didn't they give us any secret tricks to calm my nerves on stage or something that will cure my nerves instantly? While some pro players have tiny specific things that they think about or physically do in the moment that help with their nerves, we have never had those. We think that the bottom line is, if you suck at something and you want to improve at it, you need to do more of it. Everything that we've ever been good at in our lives, we put a ton of time into. Chances are that's the same for you. Competing is hard. Shaking is uncomfortable, nerves are uncomfortable, losing doesn't feel good, but every competitive player you admire went through all of those things, likely much more than you, to get to where they are today. It doesn't get better until it just does. And the only way you guarantee it doesn't is if you stop. Now let's get into part 2. Growth mindset and how to learn from your performance going forward.
Own your performance. Everything that happened, whether it rose up to your standards or you fell short of them, they were all because of what you did up to that point. Blaming the situation, basing it on luck, or having yourself be called unlucky. All these factors that I just mentioned, they're usually not something that can be controlled by yourself. Whether you did good or bad by your own standards, everything that happens in the match, no matter the outcome, is all on you. It's all your fault. One thing you can do to analyze your own performances is have someone take a video of you or search up the video on YouTube to see if your match is on there. Analyze the way you were standing, the way you were composing yourself, how fast you're going through tricks. Watch a couple times over, pinpoint all the things that stand out to you, and then if possible, review it with somebody else who also cares about competition, who also wants you to get better, whether it be your teacher, your friend, someone who also enjoys competing in Kendama. Watch it back together and learn from your mistakes. But also don't forget to review what you did really well. Another thing to look back on is how well did you practice coming up to this event? Were you putting in an hour a day? Were you practicing the tricks, taking a look at the list once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day? With whatever frequency or intensity that you practiced in, based on the result, was it enough? Usually in the past, when I thought I've fallen short, I've taken a look at my practice and I thought something wasn't enough. I have to up the standard. Through experiences, through competing, every single time I'm trying to find at least one thing I can do better for the next one. Whether you win or lose, feel the emotions. Let those emotions come to you. Feel the triumph and success and positivity of winning, all your friends surrounding you, being lifted up by everybody. Remember what that feels like so you can take it into the next match. And on the other end, if you lose, be conscious of those feelings. You might be feeling annoyance, frustration, or confusion about why you lost. And remember those feelings so that you can take them into the next competition to motivate you to try your hardest to not let that happen again. A common scenario that many
many players go through is not doing as well as they want to in competition. Maybe they practice a lot of what they think is a lot for a competition and they lose first or second round. Maybe a player plays somebody that they think they're going to totally destroy, but the opposite happens and they get crushed 3-0. These things happen. There's only one winner in a Kendama competition at the end of the day. What helped me navigate a subpar performance on my end was just focusing on the next one. Yes, I would acknowledge the feeling that I had, the frustration, the confusion of me losing, but a couple hours after or the next day, I would already be on to the next competition, setting my focus on the next opportunity. At the end of the day, greatness doesn't happen overnight in Kendama. Look at the best competitors. They all started out taking a ton of L's. Even Nick, the most decorated Kendama professional of all time. I've seen him take L's to 13-year-old kids in competition. And after those competitions, Nick would cry in a corner by himself. That has actually happened more than once. The point is, Nick wouldn't have gotten to where he is today if he had just stopped and gave up when times were hard or when he took a lot of losses.
Sometimes people think it's taking too long to get good, too long to win a competition. Having something as incredible as winning a competition take too long just doesn't exist.
Timelines of success are individual to everybody. For me, I won my first pro level competition 3 years into Kendama, but I didn't win again for another 6 full years. 6 full years of never doing as good in a competition that I did when I was 15 years old. By the time I won again, I was 21. But I never would have gotten there and I never would have had any wins after that if I stopped in that 6-year time period.
For example, Miguel, one of the best competitors in the world right now, it took him 10 years before he went on this spree of just winning and placing at every single Kendama competition he went to, and continues to do so. But for over a decade straight, he was on and off with Kendama, competing, not always at the pro level, and he has fallen short many, many times. Another person is Johnny Cress, another formidable Kendama player, another formidable competitor. He didn't get his first major show-out placing in an open style competition until NACO 2022. He got 2nd place. And right now, Johnny is definitely in the conversation for when it comes to any competition. Who's going to win? Johnny Cress is always a name in the hat. But even someone like Johnny is still on that road, on that path to getting a first place in a pro open style competition. And even someone like Takia, 3-time winner of the Kendama World Championships, someone who has been without a doubt regarded as the best player in the world over the recent years. He has also had many times where he's come up very, very short. In 2019, he qualified 3rd place in the preliminaries of the Kendama World Cup, but ended up placing overall 21st when it came to the final day.
And then let's take Alex Mitchell, for example, the most decorated American player in the past recent years. His first pro division was in 2016 at the Minnesota Kendama Open. He got destroyed. 2nd year he came back, 2017, also lost very early on. A lot of these successful pros that many of us know and admire today did not come into their competition career just getting dub after dub after dub. It took a lot of time, effort, and most importantly, showing up again and again.
In short, what we're trying to say is the long way is actually the shortcut. Those who keep showing up for themselves, keep taking the next opportunity to grow, learning from their losses, celebrating their wins, continuing to show up and continue to compete. These are the people who eventually rise to the top. There is a reason why so few people ever get to this level. It's very difficult, and the key is really just to keep on swinging.
These players have experienced greatness because they stayed in the game over several years with the desire to improve. All of these players are all normal people just like yourself. They just put in more hours than you. If you want similar results, know that your last competition wasn't your last. Keep going. To wrap it up, nerves come down to preparation, while mindset comes down to what you choose to believe. Hope this video helps you guys in your competition prep. See you guys in the next one.